AEW All Out 2023 capped off a historic week for All Elite Wrestling, and we're going to talk about some news and notes from the show as well as some CM Punk news that came out during the show. However, I'm going to save that till the end of the video because I don't want to talk about it right now. So, before I start, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. So AEW All Out 2023, one of, in my opinion, AEW's best shows that they've ever ran. The question was, how is this show going to do? Not only from an in-ring standpoint, is it going to be able to hold a candle to All In, a show that people are calling AEW's best show ever? Was it going to live up to the hype of All In? And I think whether or not you agree that it did, one thing's for sure, if you watch the show, you know that that was an amazing wrestling show. Some are referring to it as AEW's greatest show ever. I believe that it probably isn't the best show they've ever done, but it is the most important show they've ever done, if that makes sense, given everything that's happened this week. But we now know some news and notes about how the pay per view performed. Of course, it's been critically acclaimed as far as the in ring product. However, how did it perform on pay per view and in attendance? Well, Tony Khan revealed at the post show media scrum that the pay per view sold over 100,000 uh, as far as a buy rate. It had over 100,000 pay per view buys, which for this show, I think that was like the bit of the question. Like, was it going to be over or under 100,000? I personally thought, given that All In, excuse me, just 7 days ago had almost 200,000 pay-per-view buys. I thought that they were actually going to be below 100,000 for this one. That's coming 1 week out of that pay-per-view, coming at a time where the company is getting a lot of bad PR, a lot of negative news about them, and yet they delivered a great show and their core audience, their core fan base, 100,000 people, which is people want to joke about 100,000 pay-per-view buys. That ain't nothing. That is still amazing. Like that is for three that's basically 300,000 pay-per-view buys in the matter of 7 days if you count All In. Tony Khan mentioned that if you count up all the attendance for all of the shows that they've ran over the past 7 days, it amounts to just about 100,000 tickets sold. Of course, 81,000 of that was one show in All In, and then you had 10,000 or nearly 10,000, depending on who you ask. I believe WrestleTix had tickets distributed at right around 9,100 before the show started. But then, I think you count in, comps, you count in the sponsors and all that kind of stuff. That's probably going to be right around that 10,000 mark. It looked packed in the United Center, I will say. It looked packed. They didn't have that thing where, the hard cam side was completely blocked off. Like, it was a packed house at the United Center. I will say that. So, as far as attendance goes, great show. As far as the in-ring product goes, great show. As far as the buy rate goes, honestly, I think outperformed expectations, which is really the the overall message and theme of the show. It outperformed all the expectations it had for it. So you can't complain if you're Tony Khan about this. And I think given the success of All Out now, you're going to see them maybe lean into doing more pay per views. They're already doing another pay per view less than a month away now. So in a matter of like almost a month, AEW is gonna have done 3 pay-per-views: All In, All Out, and then Wrestle Dream later this month, or 1st of October, I should say, in Seattle, Washington. Gonna be interesting to see how exactly that fares. Um, Another thing that's interesting is some news that broke during All Out. This was via Bodyslam.net. Cassidy Haynes, who reported that apparently there was a backstage altercation or a backstage incident. I wouldn't necessarily call it an altercation between William Regal and CM Punk back at Revolution 2022 when William Regal first debuted for the company. Remember, that was when Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley had their feud, and at the end of the match, Regal came out to a big surprise, big pop, and forced them to be together, and that was the genesis of the Blackpool Combat Club. So the story goes, according to Cassidy Haynes of BodySlam.net, that Regal was there and he was going to debut. He went around to shake everyone's hand, and then he went up to shake Punk's hand, excuse me. And CM Punk apparently, reportedly, refused and then called him, quote, a stooge for Triple H. And this goes back to, like, of course, Triple H and CM Punk have had problems in the past. It's no secret. He's spoken about them at length on Cole Cabana's podcast. He's hinted towards them before. It is interesting that this came out, and this is like part of a bigger story that I think Meltzer has talked about on his show before. At least to my knowledge, I've only heard Meltzer talk about it. That being that this CM Punk termination isn't just because of one or two things. This is a pattern, seemingly, that this independent commission or independent committee, whatever we want to call it, kind of picked up on. So interesting stuff there. As far as what it means, I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, this week has been a lot between just the wrestling payback, all in, all out, all the shows this week. I don't know what to make of this. I'm sure that people are going to talk about it. I just wanted to inform you all of that happening. But I didn't want to make the entire video dedicated to CM Punk again, because I think, just like you, I am getting tired of talking about CM Punk and those problems. If there is like a major update in that, if Punk ends up, like, I don't know, suing AEW or something crazy like that, then of course we'll talk about it. But, I mean, if not, then I don't see a reason to really talk about it any more than we probably will over the next little while. But I want to hear from you. What did you guys think about All Out? Let me know in the comment section below. Leave your match star ratings. Leave your overall star ratings in the comment section. What do you also think about the CM Punk story? Are you just as sick and tired about talking about CM Punk as I am? Let me know in the comment section. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released.